Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where our offensive has been very successful thus far, and we are invading Singapore at this point. Well, we're attempting to break into Singapore. Anyway, they keep reinforcing. This siege is ongoing, we'll put it that way. But at this point, we've got 26 out of 30 tanks here. Hang on, I just realized that. We should pull some tanks out of... here? No, this is in the northern theater. We should pull some tanks out of the western theater. Specifically 4 of them. And they should go here. Okay, perfect. So they're gonna come over, they'll take a while to get here, and we can set a preferred tactic for this guy. He is an infantry leader. So we want him to be doing like elastic defense. Probably. Sure, that seems fine. Okay, so that is okay, and then we want this army leader here. We want him to be probably an infantry specialist. That'll be fine. And then what do we have for traits here? Infantry expert. That's infantry division attack. Let's actually go with ambusher. That'll be fine. So that looks good. And then we've got this guy over here, and we can set his preferred tactic. So that is going to end up being probably blitz, I think. There we go. That looks good. We can also set a trait for him, and this is just in the commando tree. So we could do, like, probing attacks, I guess. Sure. Not a lot going on there in terms of fantastic options, but it's fine. Okay, what tactic do we want for this guy? Definitely also blitz. So that'll be perfect. And then we can do a trait here. So we can go for a panzer expert, or we can go for combined arms expert. So... armor division defense, but increased chance of executing blitz. Okay, sure. That seems fine. And then we can set a preferred tactic for this field marshal, and that is also going to be blitz. Perfect. So there's that all dealt with. Now we have research slots available, apparently. Let's grab anti-tank armored cars. Sure, might as well, since we're on this screen. We can also do motorized rocket artillery, since we're on this screen as well. Is there anything else here? I think that's everything. So then in support companies, we have pretty much everything, but we can grab the armored engineer company. That seems fine. And then we've got an available special project here, the super heavy howitzer. Let's get going on that. Fantastic. So let's see how this attack on Singapore goes. So I expect them to reinforce this further. So far it's going well. But we can see our tanks are starting to run out of organization here. And yeah, now it's starting to turn against us, which is exactly what we expect to have happen here. And they're reinforcing this for sure. They're trying to break out though, and that's really, really bad for them. They should not be trying to break out. So our current plan is to just keep sieging Singapore. We're going to get this construction finished eventually, but that's going to be in June. So that's going to be a while. Now, we actually launched a couple of attacks up over here accidentally. This was because I moved this army to aggressively attacking, and they decided to aggressively attack their way up over here, which is, I guess, fine, but not exactly what we're angling for. So we're going to want to get some land forts going here, and I'm just going to put those at the top of the queue. That's absolutely okay. So we're not going to push any further. Is this naval base in our territory? Yes, it is. That's actually very good. So we should build a railway. Oh, there is a railway here. It's a level 2 railway, and that's not going to be ideal, but we're going to want to upgrade that here in 10 days. Okay. So their overall supply level over here in Singapore is likely dropping. Our organization for our tanks is building up here. And that's understood. What do we have here? This is, infantry. Those are moving into our Coast Guard. Absolutely, we need to plug some of these holes. So that's fine. Let's get them out over there. So we're mostly not terribly concerned about this attack over here, as long as it's mostly ongoing. And it mostly is. Honestly, this push might do the trick. We're getting a lot of retreats from them. Hang on. Let's get these tanks in here too. This might do it. Yeah. Singapore just fell. Well, they're trying to reinforce it, but they can't. They can't reinforce it. Singapore has fallen. It just hasn't happened yet. They're trying to pull more forces in from here. But I don't think they can hold it. I really, really don't. They just keep coming in with more forces from here. There's so many back over here, and we can't separately attack them. But there we go. With Singapore having fallen, these guys are all gone. They have no source of supply. So that's huge. We have a raid coming in up over here, and we do have 5 out of 5 anti-air there, so that seems okay. What do we have going on up over here? Did we lose this position? No, we never had this. This is a land fort level 1. Okay. I was going to say, or actually we had it briefly, but we lost this when we opened up this front. That's understood. So we can lower the autonomy of a subject. That's fine. We have a prototype decision available. Do we want extra fuel tanks or the 200mm battery for our cruiser submarines? Honestly, let's go with the extra fuel tanks, I think. The extra max range will be decent. We don't really want to use our subs for surface combat if we can help it. I want to use our subs for, like, logistical raiding. So that's going to be the way that that's probably going to end up going. So at this point, now that Singapore has fallen, we can come down over here and we can motorize this. And I'm wondering about, okay, 10 days on that rail gauge conversion. How long on this rail gauge conversion? I think that rail is converted. Okay. Yes. Let's bring that up to level 5. That'll be good. I also want to run a rail line like this. And then like this. Okay. That should be decent for now. What's with this supply hub over here? Well, I guess there's just no supplies being demanded here because it's being serviced by all of the other hubs around. That's fine. So that's absolutely a-okay. They're going to try to take back Singapore. This is not going to go well for them. They shouldn't be attacking this. They're just going to straight up lose that. So at this point, all we need to do is we need to attack over here and start using up their supply. This is going to be a bit of a difficult attack for us because it's across the strait, but it's still going to be absolutely fine. Eventually, yeah, they're going to start stack wiping like this. So that looks absolutely great. Just because they don't have any supplies here. So we'll get all of that cleaned up, and then these troops will redeploy as soon as this is taken over. So they're going to redeploy up over this way. And then we're going to want to do a little bit of reorganization here. And it's going to be slightly awkward. Where's this naval invasion? Okay, so we have a naval invasion in North China. This is not a problem. We also have a naval invasion in North Indochina. This should be fine at this point. I think it's absolutely a-okay for now. So that looks good. We do have this supply hub eventually getting built. It's kind of a much lower priority now that Singapore has fallen, but I still want to get it built eventually. It'll still be potentially useful. So that looks fine. They've still got 6 units out over here. I'm wondering when this invasion is going to actually happen over here. But okay. Passive sonar has finished its research, and let's go ahead and go for active sonar. Sure. Seems fine. And we just need this one small little spot over here at this point. They have very little that they can do. They're just stack wiping, and that looks perfect. Eventually we'll get across this street. Eventually. What type of... Okay, that's a citizen militia from Switzerland. Okay. Good for them. So they're going to get out of there, of course. And there's also... Is this the British Empire? Yeah, that's the British Empire. Okay. Sure. So this is a military district here. That's going to go to this Coast Guard. Now, this Coast Guard is currently full. And the core issue there, of course, is that we need to have additional supply here. So I think, can we promote this guy? If we were to promote him, would that boost up his command limit? I'm not sure. Sometimes it does boost command limit, but I think that might be more of an experience thing. I'm just checking through these right now, because we do have one that is at 30 here. This guy. So why is he at 30? Is it a trait he has? Reckless, skilled staffer. Okay, so that's what it is. It's not due to his rank or anything. Promoting isn't going to do anything there. Because we know that we need more troops here than 72 to get this done. So what this really means is that we're going to need to have another Coast Guard army here, or work it into this Coast Guard. That's also a thing that we can do. So if we were to do that, I don't want to do it yet, I don't think. I think we want to get the troops in position first. So we know that we're going to need a grand total of 96 here. So we can back some of these off until this gets to 72 or below, and then we can put the remainder of those forces into this army, is going to be the plan. So for now, we're going to exceed this, but we will deal with that later. So we'll put this into here, and we can see we're at 73 out of 72, so we're going to have penalty of the maximum... Penalty of what? Current penalty of 1.3%, but what does that penalize? I'm not sure. Okay, so we know that this is going to be 24 divisions that we want to change this by. I'm going to actually move this new infantry division into here, but we're going to give them an order to area defend along the coastline here, because we want this to go to 28. So that's 34 there. Okay, so any of these troops that are up here currently, I want to move into here, like this. And then I want to go in here, and I want to edit the area defense, and I want to remove this, and I want to remove this, like that. So this is now minimum divisions of 66, and this one is minimum divisions of 34. So that's going to be a little awkward, but I think that's going to be necessary. Yeah, that'll be fine for now. So these guys, they don't have any orders, apparently. So this is a tank division. This is an infantry division. I'm not sure why they don't have orders, but they don't have orders. So that's understood. There's these tanks up over here in the northern theater, and what I want to do right now is I want to move those into our eastern theater. We're going to get rid of the northern theater with the exception of this stuff out over here. And there's not going to be that much over here, to be honest. We're going to have these guys, we're going to have these guys. And then these are infantry out over here. Yeah, they're going to be moved as well. But for right now, what I want to do is I want to delete all orders of our tanks only. So we're going to right-click that, and that deletes all of those orders. Hang on, I did this wrong. We're going to have this front line here, like that. But I want to change this. I did it wrong because I got rid of the infantry's orders. Okay, so they're going to redeploy a little bit there, and that's potentially a bit of a problem, but actually it's not. We'll let them be that way for now. Okay, it's these guys that I want to delete all orders from. These are our tanks. So we're going to delete all orders from our tanks. And then we're going to have all of our tanks simply frontline as an army group all the way across. So they're going to spread out here, and the idea here is we want to deploy our tanks along this front, and this is not the final position we're going to put the tanks in, but we want to deploy our tanks all along this front, with the hope being that by the time all of our tanks get deployed, we're in a position that our tanks can hold the line while our infantry redeploy, because we're going to reorganize our infantry. And that's absolutely going to be necessary. So we have this incoming raid over here. We have a research slot available. Let's go ahead and grab depth charge throwers. This will be fine. Okay, and then we have an available special project here. Do we want the Earthshaker bomb? Do we want the intercontinental bomber, the mothership aircraft, the axial jet engine, the helicopter, the flying bomb, the rocket interceptor, or the Prithvi project, ballistic missile? I'm going to go with the ballistic missile. Oh, we don't have the avionics breakthroughs for that. That's fine. We can then go for the flying bomb, which is kind of the same thing. Kind of. It's kind of more of a drone, though, almost. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. That seems good. Okay, so in terms of our reorganization, what we need to keep an eye on here is these guys. Once they are all in position here, then we're going to reorganize our infantry, and that's going to be quite significant here. We're going to have a lot of shifting troops. But the idea is that the tanks can hold the line while our infantry move. And we shouldn't theoretically lose any territory while doing this. So yeah, we're just giving the tanks a moment to get into position there, and that should be absolutely a-okay. I want to check up over here. Yeah, these guys basically did not move, so that looks good. As far as our Coast Guard here, which, by the way, I renamed this theater to the Coast Guard, so that'll be good. As far as this goes, we know that we're going to need quite a lot more troops here. We need 34, so basically double the amount of troops that we have here. And then this is going to need 66. So that's understood. Okay. So how are our tanks doing? We need to grab these guys here. They're very, very close to all being in position. Okay. We're just waiting on this unit of tanks. Beautiful. Our tanks are now in position, and we'll let them entrench a bit. But at this moment, we want to start reorganizing our infantry here. Now, our core issue is that we have 3 armies up this way. And I think that what we should do is we should take these 9 and move them somewhere else. Where, though? We could move them out over to this front. So this is an Army 8. Our Western Theater only has the 2 tanks there, but this is 24 infantry. So we can't really do too much there. We could attach them to this armored division. Because the core problem here is that we've already got 3 units of infantry here, here, here. So that's all of these. And we can only have 5 in this army group, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab infantry units out of our northern theater. So this is, hang on, this is this. I'm actually thinking about this wrong then. We have this one here. This is a tank division. Okay. Gotcha. This is fine then. We don't need to worry about it. So I'm going to assign this unit here and this unit here. They are going to lose these orders. So we're going to get rid of this. There we go. And we're going to get rid of this. And then these are armored divisions. So now all of these infantry need to redeploy. And we can have more infantry that we put in here. And we may want to loot some of our Coast Guard for that, but we also may not want to. Yeah, we could definitely put in another, what is this going to be? 15? 15 here? So I don't really want to loot this Coast Guard or this Coast Guard. But if we loot this Coast Guard, that might be acceptable. They'd have a much harder time getting up over here. That's a much more challenging place for them to be. So let's loot some military districts from this. We've got 34 of them, and we're going to loot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So those are going to go up to this front. Excellent. And then I want to take this entire army group, which is now maxed out, and we are going to get rid of any orders that they pre-existing have. So everything here should not have any orders assigned. This still does. Somehow. Hang on, this is an army. These are tanks. I did this wrong again. Okay. I keep doing this wrong. I keep getting it mixed up which of these we have be our armor. There we go. That should make it easier. So that's fine. And then I want these 2 frontline here. across that entire duration. I want to delete all orders from here. There we go. And now we're going to frontline like this. So now the question is, what's going on with this? I don't know. That looks a little odd. We delete that. We assign this to our front line. So this is Army 13. Okay, Army Group 1. There we go. In theory. Let's see how that redeployment goes. This could be a little awkward because I keep messing it up. Okay, so we're redeploying everything. It's all getting reorganized, and we've got forces that are very much on the way here. The question is, are we going to leave any of these areas undefended as we redeploy here? But it looks pretty okay. But these redeployments are definitely going to take a little while. Now, we can focus our tanks if we want to. I just really wanted to get our infantry properly set up here, and let's just let this redeployment happen. For the moment, I don't want to attack anything while we get set up here. So I also want to check in on the status of our constructions. How are we doing on those coastal forts? We've got a lot of them yet to do here. Okay, that's noted. And we are also going to need coastal forts here, so let's get that queued up. But yes, this is very extensive. We need a lot of coastal fort built up there. That's fine. I'm also thinking right now, we should probably consider building more more civilian factories, which we can definitely do. So let's queue up more civilian factories wherever we can, which there are a few locations where we can do that. I'm actually surprised there aren't more locations we can build more civilian factories in these areas that we recently took over, but okay. So that seems fine. We'll definitely get going on that. So checking in on the status of our redeployment here, it's looking pretty good. A lot of our forces are already in position, so I'm very glad to see that. And I don't think we lost any terrain while we were redeploying, so that's fantastic. So everything looks great there. And then as far as our actual attack here goes, I'm thinking that we would want to focus down here in the south to start and get a line from like here to like Guangdong down over here or something along those lines. Get this all taken care of so that we're not getting naval invasions from over here. Are we at war with Macau? So I know that this star is supposed to be red if we are at war with them. I'm colorblind, so I have a hard time telling it. I believe that this is not at war. Let's find out. So this is the 5th Portuguese Empire, and we are not at war with them. Okay, good. I did tell that correctly. I can tell if I really look at it whether it's red or gray, but it's really hard for me to see the difference just at a glance. So that is definitely exciting. So like up over here, you can see that these are presumably red, but this looks very similar to me. So like, yeah, this is definitely red when I really look at it, but it's hard to tell at a glance. It's certainly darker, so that's good to know. But when I don't have any, like, if I compare them directly, I can see that there's clearly a difference between those. But if we're only looking at one, it's really, really hard to see for me. So that's just my burden to bear. That's fine. There are ways around it. So at this point, our redeployment is basically complete. So I want to start thinking about an offensive operation. Now, our tanks are spread pretty thin at this moment. So that's understood. I'm just thinking about how we might want to do this. And I'm thinking this river is a pretty decent demarcation line. So we can do an offensive line that would push basically straight up to the border of Macau, like that. This would just be in the south. And the reason why I want to do a smaller bite-sized push in the south is because of the access to the steel that's in this region. You can see that there's quite a lot of it. And some of it is up in this state here, so this is not going to be in this initial operation, but this will grab us this and this. or at least a good chunk of it. So that looks good. I'm actually thinking we may want to include these 2 states in our offensive operation. So to that end, let's get rid of this and let's do another one. And I really just want it to be at the state lines here. So what's the boundary out over here? Okay, noted. So that would really be something like an offensive line that would go like this, approximately? Or would it go up like this? I think it would go up like this. I think that's the state border. If not, it's pretty close. Let's see here. Missing this. I'm not sure we care. There's just this province here. We can manually order that. Now, I don't want to actually start this yet because we've got some large river crossings in here. Are you aggressively attacking? Oh, no, you're just actually doing it. I don't want to run that yet, and we're actually starting the attack here. I want to allow them to do some preparation here. So we're not actually going to attack this yet. We'll just do a little probe, I guess, and that did get us some territory, surprisingly. Okay, so that's fine, and we could actually just run this, I think. Just based on that little probe attack, that's very interesting. It is, however, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are probably going to run this offensive here, with the goal being that we isolate this island. I always forget the name of this, Hainan. We isolate Hainan down here. We're not going to try to push across this immediately, but just isolating it and making it reliant on this naval base, and it's going to be very much like Singapore, trying to get across here. This connects directly into the naval base, so as long as we get that, that's great. But we'll have a small force that's devoted to attacking this direction, with the bulk of our forces just trying to take the steel that's in this region. That's going to be the idea here. Speaking of which, can we core? We can absolutely core, and we should. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.